Alright guys, so here's the long-awaited part 3, and yeah, it has been a little too long since one of these parts, but aside from the fact that I just didn't feel like recording because Link, honestly, I'm kind of getting intimidated by this and the fact that I actually tried to do his face a couple of times and failed a couple of times. I just wanted to take a break to kind of be like, alright, I have to kind of regroup my, tutorial of how I'm actually going to show this. And on top of that, I've been doing other art related projects and stuff, and tutorials aren't necessarily on the top of my art to do list, especially considering I messed up on them a couple times. So, with that said, hopefully we're not going to mess up any more times, and hopefully this is going to go rather smoothly. But here is the rest of the, well, not conclusion, because we're not even close to being done, but here's the rest of the Link clay model, episode 11. I really can't believe we're up to 11 episodes. It kind of seems like, wow, 11 episodes. Doesn't seem like I've done that many. So anyway, alright, so part 1 and 2, we got this far with the head, and now, like I said, we're going to go on to the face, which, again, I said I messed up on a couple times, so hopefully I won't mess up again. Alright, so first off, we're going to do the eyes. So, first, I'm going to do the eyebrows, which is the yellow that we used for the hair. So, that kind of, not bright yellow, but the standard looking yellow. So, alright, what we're going to do here is take a really small piece, and before we kind of get into the face, you got to remember that, or at least, I'm still making this really small, so the smaller it is, the more difficult it's going to be, and keep in mind symmetry and kind of keeping it symmetrical and all that type of stuff, because when I did it before, it wasn't very straight, and the features were very large, and it looked really weird, so that's why I decided to do it again. Alright, so, really small piece of yellow right here, and we're just going to put it kind of, if it would get off my finger, we're going to put it about halfway down his face. Link has a large forehead, so I don't really want to, put it as high up as we can, because it wouldn't look on model. So we're going to do that again, and you want to keep them somewhat apart from each other. You don't want them to be too close, because then it'll look really weird. So I would say, it might look weird to start kind of, farther apart, but once we kind of get through the model, it'll look a lot better. So something like that, if you can see that, about midway down his face, and an even lengths apart, but so much so that they're not too close. Alright, so like that. So here's where I messed up last time, and that's in the eyes. I'm kind of going about making the eyes the wrong way, or at least I was. So a lot of people, myself included, probably would make the eyes something like, let me kind of use this black, something like this. So they kind of look mean looking. However, especially kind of basing it off the artwork and stuff, his eyes are actually quite round and kind of ovally, and the only way that they get kind of to look mean is with the eyebrows and the black outline around them acting as kind of, giving him the feature to make him look kind of like angry. So what we're gonna do is make a flat circle and make one of the sides entirely flat, like that. And then what I want to do is angle the other side kind of down. So you get almost like a shape like, it's almost like a triangle, but it's not really. It's like a circular triangle, if that makes any kind of sense. Let me show you guys better on the black. See, it looks kind of like that. It's not as kind of sharp down as if we were to just do kind of like a mean eye. So, that's what's up with that. And this might be slightly too large. I'm going to see for size sake. If this was young Link, I would say that's pretty good. But considering it's adult Link, I'm going to say that it's not very good. So I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. It's the same. I'm just going to shrink it, but it's exactly the same as I just showed. And also to kind of, for time's sake, I'm probably just going to show, especially because I've kind of delayed this so far, Not to say it's going to be less in terms of quality, but just to kind of speed things along so we're not lingering too long on any given part. I'll probably just show one of like, well, yeah, I'll probably just show one eye, do the other off camera, finish the face. Same thing with kind of the body. I'll show like one arm, do the other off camera, that type of thing, like I've done with I think the shadow tutorial and I think the SPO tutorial and other ones. So, alright, that's still way too big. I just want to get this really right because, like I said, Link actually has smallish eyes, and what I struggled with when I did this a while ago was trying to get the eyes to the right proportion, especially considering we're going to put in the blue and the black and the little shine and stuff. So we really want to make sure it's as small as we can get it, not so much to make things more difficult for ourselves, but to make things still look right the smaller we go. So I guess that's good enough. It'll probably become a bit more relevant when we actually put on the rest of his features. Maybe at this point making the eyebrow kind of a little bit sloped, just to kind of give it that mean appearance. Because I feel like I put them on a little too straight. I don't know, maybe that's just me though. Alright, so we got the shape of the eye. Next, I'm going to do the outline of the eye. So this is fairly easy, and it requires a very thin piece of black clay. You could probably use a toothpick to kind of maneuver this, you know, if you're really good at you. I could probably do it with either, but I guess I'll just kind of use this toothpick, or maybe not. I don't know. Again, I'm doing this in midair, so as long as you're really good with it, we're just going to outline the eye with this black. So the first piece should kind of go over the top there, you know, between the eyebrow and the beginning of his eye at the top. But what we want to do is not so much give Link an eyelash, but I want to kind of extend it a little bit farther past where his actual eye is. Not too much, but just a little bit. And I'm gonna kind of redo that. This clay isn't working with me very well. Alright, so yeah, I extended it a bit farther than around the first, you know, the top of the eye. We're going to do the same thing for the bottom, except we're not going to extend it as far. So, same thing, another small piece. And I recommend these kind of be the same width and kind of length. I don't know. You want them to look good, so to make them the same kind of angle and size. You know, you don't want Link to look like he's wearing like mascara or something, you know. So make it look realistic in the sense that it's not too thick. So we kind of got that black outlining, which is exactly what we want. Now we're going to add the blue, and it's at this point where you should really kind of pay attention to exactly how much clay you're putting in his eye, because this will determine whether or not he looks good or not. So we're not really following the artwork like exactly. I mean, in terms of he's looking to the side in this eye, and he's looking straight at you on this eye. I mean, you can kind of do whatever you want with the eyes, really. But I guess just to kind of keep with it, I'll make him looking to the side like that. So, the blue doesn't actually cover his entire eye. It kind of stops a little bit of the ways down. Like that. And then there's some black in his eye right at the top. Keep in mind at this point, again, that kind of depth factor. You don't want, you know, his eyeballs, after all the layers we're putting on, to be way out here. So just keep that in mind. A little bit is okay, but just don't go overboard with it. And then finally, a little white shine, which is probably the hardest part, because if it's too thick, then it'll notice. Like, you can kind of get away with it being, you know, the whole depth thing if the eyeball's a little bit farther out. with the blue and the black because they kind of go together and they're kind of dark colors. But if you do that with a white, you're gonna be able to notice it that it's sticking way far out and stuff. So a little bit like that. And I'm looking at this, and this honestly looks like a young Link. Wow. Well, I think we'll still roll with it being adult Link. I'm not gonna completely switch the title and stuff now, but it actually does look more like young Link. Maybe after we put on his adult Link features, he'll look more like adult Link. So don't worry too much, and we're gonna probably kind of fix up the hat and stuff anyway. So all right, that was the first eye. I'll show where to put the pupils on for the next eye and stuff on the next part. But I mean, in terms of the build, it's exactly the same. So that's when I come back with another part. All I'm gonna have is kind of the white with the black outline on his other eye, and we'll put on the rest of his features that in that next part, which will probably conclude the entirety of the head because that includes earrings, fixing the kind of little hair that's next to his ears and his hat and that type of thing. So next part coming up.